I wanted to ask the question of like, what is your end goal with everything that you're building? If you can give just some general overview about what marketing strategies you employed to grow Aloe, that'd be great. If you're comfortable disclosing, are you comfortable disclosing the total MRR of all your apps bundled together? Today, we have a special guest, a friend of mine. His name is Chris. He's kind of a little bit of everything: developer, content creator, legitimate business owner as well. So super excited to have this chat, Chris. And why don't you start off? Could you give us a quick little intro about yourself?
Yeah. Well, first, thanks for having me, Thomas. Really appreciate it. So my name is Chris. I build productivity apps and I teach people how to build productivity apps and everything I'm learning online. I think that's like the intro that I usually give people. But then there is a whole other side that we can talk about where I have a business. But yeah, I think that's the quick intro.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. So why don't we just get straight into it then? So could you tell us like a little bit about your journey into building apps and just coding in general? Did you come from a technical background from school or not? And how did you, I guess, end up building a lot of the productivity apps that you document? Oh, by the way, Chris has a YouTube channel. Check it out if you want. And how did you stumble upon building apps and then also making content about building apps as well?
Yeah. Okay. It's like a long story, but first to answer the question, no, I didn't study coding. I didn't go to school for computer science or anything. I was an economics major. So I was planning on actually going into finance or consulting. I went to school in Nashville, and the school I went to, like, no one really went into tech. Everyone went into business or finance or consulting. Those are the only two routes. And I just so happened to pick up coding because right as I entered college, that's when Swift, the programming language, came out. So this was, I think, like 2014, 2015 is like when that came out. And when it came out, I naively was like, okay, there's a new language here. It sounds way easier than Objective-C. It sounds like everyone can pick it up. And so all the tutorials like just came out for Swift. And since it was such an early language and everything was pretty new, the tutorials were super easy to follow. And I think I just got really lucky that I started my app development journey and building when that language came out and when things were so fresh. But that is how I came into it. It was just one Christmas break. Like when I had some free time, I was like, I'm gonna actually try to do this since the language came out. And that's how I kind of got it started with it. Again, didn't really major in computer science or anything, but once I built my first app, which was, I think, just like following a calculator tutorial online, I got really addicted to building apps. Like, I think seeing that build for the first time, I think I spent like 6 hours like on that tutorial. It was just some free YouTube tutorial series that someone made. It was just such another feeling being able to write some code, hit a button, and then see it physically appear in my hand. And then the rest of that Christmas break, I think I had like 2 weeks. I was just building like nonstop. I think I pulled like 3 all-nighters, but that's how I got started kind of building and just kind of with the app journey, was just stumbling upon it, following tutorials, again, completely self-taught. And I think I was just at the right place at the right time when all of this stuff was kind of new. Once I started building these apps, I continued with it. So like once I went back to school, I kind of started questioning whether I should go into finance consulting after that experience. I was like, okay, this is like way more fun. But I also knew, I'm self-taught. I saw some of my friends who were computer science majors, and I'm pretty sure you're a computer science major too. So like you've done the leak code, you've done all that stuff. I saw them struggling like to do all that stuff. And I was like, okay, I don't want to go through that struggle. Like I'm having a lot of fun building stuff. I don't necessarily want to do leak code. I don't want to take all the comp sci courses and kind of suffer through that. So I decided, I'm just going to do this for fun on the side. I'm just going to continue to build apps and just kind of see where it takes me. But I'm not going to make any life decisions here. Like I'm not going to go switch to computer science or anything. So for me, building was always just this side fun thing. And that was like a very conscious decision. I still had full plans to potentially go into finance until I think after about like 2 years into college. Again, still going the finance route. So I was like fully prepared to go to New York, I was still doing interviews, still doing networking. About probably junior year when I had to make a serious decision about should I continue to do this? That's when I decided I still don't really want to go into computer science, but I do want to go into tech. So then I completely pivoted during college, switched career paths, and knew no matter what, I need to be in this space. And so that's when I decided to start trying to apply for tech companies, ended up working at Google for a bit after college, but I was always building stuff on the side, not really making money from anything, to be honest. Like it was just like a fun thing. It wasn't until after college I started discovering like indie hackers, started discovering Twitter, and then I figured out, wait, you can actually make money from doing this as well, and this could actually be a thing. And then I started monetizing, started getting addicted to building not just apps that people, like apps for myself or just fun apps that people were using, but trying to build something a little more sustainable, trying to build actual online businesses. And then it just kind of snowballed. Like I just did the same thing over again for a few years, kind of iterated to this point. I think once I started getting really good at building, or at least in my opinion, really good at building, I kind of wanted a new challenge, and I really wanted to, like I had a lot of fun live tweeting and really documenting my journey on Twitter, but there was some stuff that I couldn't really like talk about on Twitter or just articulate well. And I was like, maybe there's another medium I can try here. So I started doing TikTok because I could say a little bit more in a 1-minute video than I could in like I don't even know how many characters the tweet is, but I could say a lot more in the video. So that's why I started doing the video content. It was just, I needed another outlet to kind of show what I'm doing, document my process. And I like genuinely love teaching people like the stuff that I'm learning. So that's how I got into it. Then from TikTok, the 1 minute wasn't enough anymore. I was like, okay, I need to go a little bit deeper here. That's why I started doing the YouTube stuff, which has been the perfect medium because there's really no time limit there. But long story short, that's actually kind of the entire journey of how I got into building, how I got into content, as like condensed as I can say. I don't think I ever told that full story before, so probably the first time. Like people are very curious like how I got into it, but that's how.
You know what's wild is the fact that even with all these AI tools we have right now, building native mobile apps is still incredibly painful. I was just talking to a developer friend the other day who said that they spend more time managing 2 separate code bases than actually building real features. And recently, the sponsor of today's video, Bubble, just released a brand new feature that can really change everyone's mobile workflow, especially when you're trying to prototype really quickly with the help of AI. So here is the typical scenario. You use AI to help generate your app logic, maybe some UI components, but then you hit this wall where you need to set up Xcode, Android Studio, deal with simulators, manage dependencies. It's like AI gets you 80% of the way there, and then you're stuck in configuration hell. But with Bubble, you can take those AI generated ideas and actually implement them directly in your browser. No dev environment you need to set up, no switching between iOS and Android code bases. You're literally dragging and dropping components while your AI assistant helps with the logic and backend connections. And honestly, the best part about this tool is the deployment process. Anyone who's published to the App Store knows it's usually a nightmare, but they've actually streamlined that entire workflow. You build once and it deploys to both iOS and Android. The interesting part for AI assisted development is the fact that you can use the same backend for both your mobile app as well as your web app. So when you're iterating on features with AI, you're not duplicating work across platforms. If you're building mobile apps with AI tools, definitely check out Bubble. I'll put the link in the description. It is a game changer for quickly going from an AI generated concept to an actually published app in the App Store. Yeah. All right, very cool. A lot to unpack, a lot of things, a lot of questions I want to ask. But I guess first of all, why don't we talk about what apps are in your current app portfolio?
Okay. Yeah. So the first app that I built, I built like a ton of random small apps. A lot of them aren't here anymore. Like most of them were on the App Store. Like I built like a water tracking app. Like I've built a couple of to-do list apps, like simple to-do list apps. None of them are around, but there's 4 main apps that I'm working on right now. The first app that I think was like my first serious app is called Mogul, and it's a personal CRM app. So this is an app where, again, because I was going into finance or going into consulting, there's a ton of networking that has to happen. So I was using a Google Sheet to just track everything, like all the interactions with recruiters, with people I'm networking with. I basically just built myself a better version of a Google Sheet, and which I didn't know there was a term for that. It's called a personal CRM, where you can just track interactions. So Mogul was the first, I think, serious app that I built. It's available on desktop, it's available on iOS. And that one actually, I think, like, I haven't taken a look now, but I know it's had at least like 10,000 people sign up for it. I know that. I don't even know how many daily users there are, to be honest. Like that one I haven't really like messed with in a while, but that's the first serious app. It's the first app that I monetized to actually make money. And I believe like when I started working on my second app, that one did break 1,000 MRR for sure for that one. Then I pivoted to the second app because, again, a lot of these apps I just made because I genuinely needed them. So the first one was because I was in finance consulting, needed to network. Second one was a daily planning app, and this is the biggest app that I have. So this one's called Ellie. It's a daily planning app. It allows you to time box and plan your day. It's something I use it every single day. It's something I genuinely needed. That's the second app in the portfolio, by far the biggest one. That's the one most people know me for. That one I think has around like 30,000 people have signed up for this one. It's got like, I think 2,000 to 3,000 daily active users that use it, and around like 5,000 monthly that use it. So
that's impressive.
Very like, yeah, it's like, that one I was very surprised by, because when I originally built it, I was like, if I use it, that's good. I don't know if anyone actually would use it. There's like 1,000 of these kind of apps out there. Was very surprised people really like the workflow that I kind of built into the app, but that's the second app. The third app is a budgeting app called Luna, because I spend way too much money on food and eating out. So I was like, I need I need an app that like will help me curb my spending. It needed to be super manual. And so that was the third app that I built, was a budgeting app. And then the fourth app, which it's still in the process of being developed, is kind of just this like AI meeting assistant app where I just zone out during meetings. I'm in a ton of meetings all day. And so I needed something that would live on my computer that I can just ask it live during the meeting. Hey, what did I miss? Or like, hey, what did Sarah say her role was? So that's another app. It hasn't been released yet, but I've made a couple videos, have a wait list. I think there's like over 1,000 people on the wait list right now that like want to try it. But yeah, those are the 4 apps. I think I rambled way too long on that, but those are the 4 apps.
No. You're so good. You're so good. If you're comfortable disclosing, are you comfortable disclosing the total MRR of all your apps bundled together?
Yeah, I think it hovers somewhere between 6 to 7,000 a month. It's for like just all the subscriptions combined. Ellie makes the bulk of it. I'm actually, in terms of like, I used to actually tweet out the MRR until I hit, I think my rule of thumb is I'm okay like tweeting out MRR until probably around like 1,000 a month. Then I've noticed that after 1,000, it doesn't really do anything, but also I noticed that it sometimes kind of might attract the wrong people to kind of follow along. Not in a like, oh, it's bad if people talk about MRR, but more, I really wanted a lot of the content to be focused more on building for myself and just like how I'm doing this and just trying to build like really like apps that have a lot of longevity, that really deliver value to users. So that is something I like tried to consciously stay away from for a while, but I actually have no problem disclosing how much. It's just anytime anyone asks, I'm willing to say it, but that's why you're never going to see me really like talk about it that much, but around 6 to 7K a month.
Right. And that's some serious cash too. Like, I mean, that's a decent chunk for sure.
Yeah. For an individual, like for a person, like that's like literally a full-time salary, like to be able to. Yeah, which is nice.
Very true. Kind of touching back on it though. Well, I guess there's a couple of topics I want to talk about. I alluded to this a little bit earlier in like the intro to this video, and so did you, but there's like a whole nother part of your personal life or like your career aspect that not many people on the internet know about, just because you only really make content about the whole indie building stuff. And we'll touch on that next. But I know one of the most common questions that I get on my channel whenever I talk about building apps is always like marketing. How do you market? So I know for me, my marketing sauce has always just been organic social media. That's kind of, I'm like a one-trick pony. That's kind of all I know. But I know you also built at least 2 out of those 4 apps before you even started on like TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. So how did you market your apps before social media? Because I'm also sure that social media does help market your apps right now too.
It does, yeah. This is probably the most common question I get is, how do I do marketing? And I've been like debating making a video about this, because the honest answer is I don't think I do it well. Like, I don't think I know what I'm doing here, but I will share that like these are the primary channels that users come from my apps. What might surprise most people is majority of it is actually not through social media. In fact, I don't even think, I would probably say less than 20 to 30% of my users come from the social media stuff that I do, which is very surprising to people. But the reason is because most of my content is focused around builders. So like people who are building, software engineers, but my apps are like budgeting apps, to-do apps, personal CRM. There really actually isn't that much overlap with that audience. To be honest, most of my users are just average people. Like, we're talking about students, a lot of nurses use like Ellie, for example. Something that's also very surprising to people is for my apps, like especially for Ellie, it is like 80% women who use Ellie as well. There is not many like software engineers that are actually using it. It's just very average, very normal people that are using it. So because of that, social media for me actually hasn't been that big of a marketing channel. It has done something crazy though, so I'll explain that, but it is not the big marketing channel. The big marketing channels for me have been organic app store search, which surprises people, which is also why I'm so, like, I always have to have an iOS version for most of the apps because it is such a big channel. The second is SEO. So I do put out some, like not even that much, but I do put out some content on some of the websites or on the landing pages that I do. And that actually surprisingly does get like a decent amount of very high quality traffic. So not a lot of traffic, like we're not even talking thousands of months, but we're talking about hundreds of views a month, which doesn't sound good, but it's super high intent, very, very high intent traffic. And so a lot of users do come from some of the articles that I publish on the website. And then a lot comes from just Reddit comments and Reddit threads. So I think I've made like 8 Reddit posts or Reddit comments, and a lot of traffic does come from that. Some of it does actually now come from ChatGPT as well because of the SEO, because of this, but it's all just really like organic channels. And then now a little bit from some affiliate stuff for Ellie. So there are some affiliate links that I do have an affiliate program, and some people do have links that they can share. That is like probably contributing to maybe like 10 to 20% of the traffic now. And that is increasing though a little bit, but
Yeah.
only Ellie has that affiliate program.
Got it. Could you give us an example of like the SEO stuff that is like very high intent users? Like, could you just give an example of some blog post?
Yeah. I think the most high intent ones are definitely comparison. Like comparison articles are a really good one. So if you have a competitor, so let's say like Todoist is a pretty big competitor of Ellie. I think a lot of people use both of them at the same time and it complements it. But I do have a lot of articles, for example, mentioning Todoist alternatives or how to use Todoist correctly or Todoist pricing. So a lot of competitor articles. So that way, when people search for Todoist and they want to see reviews and they want to hear honest opinions, so I do try to share very honest opinions. I never bash competitors on any of these posts, by the way. I purely just talk about, here's the pricing, here it is. But then I always do mention Ellie somewhere in there where I say, by the way, if you're looking for the time blocking functionality Todoist doesn't have, which I think they finally released something like that, but that was a big source of traffic, I know, where people would look at Todoist, then they would read the article and say, oh, Todoist doesn't have time blocking. Oh, but Ellie does. It actually puts it on their radar. And again, it's not that much traffic. We're talking like maybe for an article like that, it would get like 30 to 40 visits a month, but it's so high intent. Like it's such high intent traffic because it's someone that's either searching for an alternative or they're a Todoist user and they're looking for time boxing. So it does actually convert a lot better than people think. And it doesn't have to be that much traffic. So that's an example.
Got it. So then would you say if you had to pick just like top 2 SEO strategies to market your app, because it definitely, I'm sure you get similar comments as well, but I think a lot of people comment on my social media being like, bro, it's easy to build an app that gets users if you have a huge social media presence like yours. It's like, I mean, you're not wrong, but it's also, I'm in a very similar boat as you where most of the things that I build are not targeted towards developers. Like they're the Venn diagram overlap of potential users, my viewers, overlap is very small. So it really, I have to honestly look for other means of marketing and growing my progress. So if you had to pick your like top 2 SEO strategies for anyone trying to market their app, would you say it would be Reddit plus like SEO, like comparison articles of big competitors in that space already? Or is there another ones?
I think the top 2 for me, like, especially if I had iOS, like it would be organic app store and then probably the SEO stuff, just because Reddit's also cracking down a little bit. Like it's way harder to do this. It's also a really long game, even longer than SEO sometimes, I think. But if I could have 2, it would be the organic app store and it would be SEO. If you're not allowed to do organic app store, then I would probably do the SEO. And then I would do some sort of either Reddit or basically just any community where your users would browse or look at. So this could be just random internet forums. Like if you're like a plant app or something like that, genuinely plant forums like actually would be a good place to look at, or even just some like Facebook groups. Like I know some Facebook groups are publicly indexable, so that content will surface. The reason also to look at Reddit, these sub communities is, and this is kind of like something that I can't really prove and I can't really replicate, but I have noticed that it's a lot easier to get picked up by ChatGPT and the AI recommendations. If for some reason, if you're mentioned here, it does weigh that pretty heavily in the recommendations alongside SEO. So that combination I think is very powerful. The reason that I think people don't look at it is because the payoff is it's just a lot of work for like, it's a very long-term thing. So a lot of people, they don't even know if they're going to work on their app in a year. So like, they don't know if they can like wait that long. But for me personally, those are the 2 channels I would probably invest in. Like there's some other things I've wanted to try. Like I have wanted to try some social media stuff like paid influencers. Like I've wanted to try some TikTok strategies, but I just have such limited time to create the content that I need something really asynchronous that I can create on my own time. I don't have to like really wait for people. It's such an easy, low barrier thing. It's just, you need to have a lot of patience to do it.
Right. And I know earlier you said social media has done something crazy for your apps that you wanted to mention later. So what is that exactly?
Okay. So a lot of people, they always ask me, okay, so if am I getting a lot of traffic from my YouTube, from my TikTok, from my Instagram, and am I sending it to download my apps? I learned super early on that's not going to happen because when I looked at the audience of all of my content, again, it's just software engineers, it's builders. They weren't necessarily my target audience. However, I started changing. Instead of trying to get people to go from my YouTube to my apps, I did the reverse, where I started trying to get my app users to check out my content. And what that actually ended up doing was it significantly increased the amount of trust that I built with the users. And it was like a tangible thing I could feel. Because I think the minute like, for example, what I started doing was I actually now send a welcome email for Ellie where when you sign up, I plug some of my YouTube videos and I say, hey, if you actually want to see me building this app and you want to see behind the scenes, check out this video. You go on my landing page for Ellie. I have a bunch of my videos at the bottom where typically it says like, about the founder, about the creator. I use that to plug my YouTube videos. And I think so few people do this, especially like companies. Like companies would never do this because they're massive. There's really no face that they can put there. I noticed that the minute I started doing that, the support requests change. Like the amount of people who reached out that said that they loved watching that stuff, they're not the target audience. So I know for a fact, like the target audience for the videos. So I know for a fact that they stumbled upon it, but I think they just built a deeper connection to the product when they got to see behind the scenes of how it was being built. And I think that did something for the retention of the product that I can't tangibly prove or link, but I could just feel it in the support request, in the type of just the tone, like the way that people would email me and talk about it. For example, I think since doing that, I've gotten like maybe 1,000 support emails, over the last 2 years since like putting my name on this stuff, putting my my YouTube. There is not a single support request I've gotten, maybe three that have not mentioned be my name. So like all the support emails say, hey, Chris. They don't just say like, hey, Ellie team or hey, whatever. They all say, hey, Chris, because I think the amount I plaster myself on there, they know there's a human behind this. They know that, there's who is behind this. And it just adds a whole dimension to the product, which I don't see a lot of builders doing. But when I did that, that was like such a huge shift. I think for Mogul, I didn't do it for Mogul originally. And I actually did the reverse because I thought, oh, if people see I'm a small, indie hacker, I'm a small creator, they're not going to trust it. Like they want a company behind it. The minute I put myself on there, same situation happened. Like, people started referring to me by name. They were so much nicer on the emails. Like, it's easier to be mad at a company. It's way harder to be mad at a person. So it's something that I think like I didn't understand until I did it, and I think a lot more people should take advantage of.
That's a really interesting insight because especially now that especially with AI making building apps so much easier and it's reducing them more and more between all the software products. It's like I've heard there's one quote that I heard, which I think I do agree with, but the quote was basically saying the only defensible moat is community these days. And you're essentially doing that by being like, yo, I'm the one face behind this entire operation. And you're building a community around yourself at this point.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Very cool. Very cool. I wanted to ask the question of like, what is your end goal with everything that you're building? But I think it's difficult to discuss that without talking a little bit more about your actual, much more serious business that you also run that many people know about. So could you tell us a little bit about that business?
Okay. So I have this business that I've been running for a very long time since I got out of college, a little bit in college. So it's called Aloawa. It has done a lot of pivots over the years, but at the core, the way it started, really, it was kind of a traditional agency. I got really addicted to building apps for myself to the point where I really wanted to do it for other people. So naturally, in college, I kind of just started freelancing, started this agency. It's pivoted a lot, and now the current focus, just like every other company, it's really focused on AI. So the thing that we do right now is we help companies that are trying to build custom boutique AI apps for their businesses. We help them do that. We also do a lot of AI education. So something I haven't announced yet, but we actually did start this Aloawa YouTube channel because I've seen the power of being able to communicate through video. So we're doing a lot more video content. We're trying to partner with other companies to do really in-depth guides and in-depth videos, really good interviews, and just try to educate people on the AI space. But that's essentially what the company is. It's really, we help companies build with AI, and then we're trying to further the AI education space. That's what I do full time right now. I rarely talk about it because it's just not that interesting, but it is something I do want to start talking about more. But I am known as like the solo app developer. So a lot of people are very surprised when they're like, oh wait, there's a whole other company that you're running. It is definitely my main focus. There's actual employees there. I think we have it's a small team, but it's a team of 7, 8 people right now. And yeah, I've been working on this for a very long time. That is my full-time job. If anyone asks what my full-time job is, that is how I pay bills. That is how I get started. So I do make money from the apps. I do make money from content, but this is the primary thing that I work on. And it's kind of crazy that I never talk about it. So people are very surprised. And it's a real business, very profitable. Been operating for a long time, like maybe like 8 years now. And so it's very sustainable, and I love working on it. So that's the business.
Yeah. Aloawa obviously is very B2B focused, whereas the apps that you're building right now largely been B2C focused. What is your primary way of marketing and growing Aloawa? I'm sure it's changed over the years from when it was really small and early on to where it is now. So if you can give just some general overview about what marketing strategies you employed to grow Aloawa, that'd be great.
Yeah, B2B is a whole different thing, especially Aloawa, which compared to my apps, it's a B2B service company. So it's primarily, us trading time for money, compared to a software where you build it once, people can pay a subscription. So because of that, it's a whole different way to market. The two primary channels that we get volume, it's word of mouth. That's a big one. And that's just for every single service company. Usually the bulk of deal flow, the bulk of inbound is coming from word of mouth referrals. You do really good work, people will refer you. So that's always the bulk. But the second and third channel that we really do, a lot of it is SEO. SEO has been a huge driver for us. Very hard, to be honest. I think we invested, I would say, if I had to put a number to it, we definitely invested over $10,000 a month in SEO for sure for a long time before we started seeing returns. So it is a very long-term game. It is a very big bet, but it really has paid off. And then I think a third one really is now it's this content that we're doing. So we're doing a lot of video content. This one is actually something where we're being very strategic, where it actually, I think the target audience does overlap a little bit more. These builders, these business people who want to learn more about AI, they actually are the target audience for this. So we are starting to see a little bit of traction there, even though it just started. Those are the three primary ways that we are thinking about marketing right now.
Yeah. How about in the early stages? Were the strategies different from where they were now?
Yeah, they definitely were. We've tried a lot of things. We've spent a ton of money and time on email marketing. We did paid ads for a year straight and just incinerated so much money on paid ads, and it didn't really work that well. So we have tried a lot of different strategies, and it is constantly evolving. The big one that's always consistent though is that word of mouth. I think that's always going to be the thing. We have tried SEO in the past and it didn't work. And then after talking to more people and really understanding things more, there are a lot of things that we retry. So who knows, maybe we will retry paid ads eventually if something clicks, or email marketing. But those are the things that we have tried. It's not working. And then this is kind of what we're doing now.
Got it. Okay. Now that I guess you revealed your real main serious thing in the background, just kind of curious, what is the main goal of building these consumer apps? Because clearly, well, maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't seem like it's a big monetary exit since you have a much more serious conventional company that you're working on in the background. Is it just for the love of the game, or what is it? What is the end goal with your current portfolio of consumer productivity apps?
Yeah, the answer I'm going to give, people are going to hear this and be like, I don't know if I can swear here, but they're going to be like, this guy is he's full of it. There's no way this is the serious answer. But truly, the end game is there really is no end game. I do it because I love the craft. I love building this stuff. I love teaching people. I have had a lot of offers to sell both Ellie and Mogul. I've had a lot of offers to buy it. I've had a lot of people, very serious offers, but to be honest, I just have zero intention of ever selling anything. Even if something like Mogul, if I'm not really working on it, everything just on paper screams, you need to sell this thing, or, this is a good deal, take this deal. But truly, for me, it's really not that much about the money for this stuff. These are things that I've built over multiple years. I really enjoy. They're almost, I think, closer to art projects than they are to actual businesses. If I had to, again, people are going to be like, there's no way this guy means this, but truly, they really are more like art projects to me. I love seeing how they evolve over time. Now, I think now that I'm actually getting a lot of users, I also love seeing the impact that it has on these users. And it's something that I just never really want to give up. I think that's also why I've also gotten a lot of offers for people to invest in the apps. And they're like, you should totally take Ellie. You should go, grow a team for this. But I think being on the other side with Aloawa, where I do have a team, we have made some serious money, and I've played the actual business game, I do not want to play that game with these apps. I think one business is definitely enough. it's such a challenge. It's such a different animal versus, this fun project, doing it for fun, doing it for passion, doing it for the love of the game. I really don't want to introduce employees into it. I don't want to introduce investors to it. I just want to keep it as much of an art project for myself as long as possible. That's kind of, so basically there's no end goal. The end goal is to keep it exactly like this and continue to have fun as long as physically possible.
Yeah. And I have never empathized so much about your analogy comparing these projects to art. I totally feel that too. I think like right now I'm kind of in this awkward zone where, for a long time I was building kind of solo apps for myself, and then now for the past year and a half I have a co-founder building my own apps, and we're trying to treat what we're building as like a serious business. We're really trying to grow it as a serious business. But in the early days when I was a solo founder completely on my own, I've always, more than like a founder, entrepreneur, business person, I always just felt more like that artist that just traps himself in his room and is happiest just coding away for hours and hours on end. But it's hard. I do think the minute you change that mindset from, oh, this is an art project to this is a commercial business, it totally changes the relationship that you have with that project you're building. So I don't know. I think for anyone that's out there trying to build your own app, trying to build your own business, I think just be aware of that. It is helpful to have things that are just dedicated. This is going to be a business, and not as much like to treat the relationship differently. And then you should build some other stuff on the side that's purely just for the love of the game to keep you a little sane on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I think that's something a lot of people don't talk about, especially since, in theory, on paper, the best way to build this stuff is really to have extreme focus, like focus on one thing, really build it. That's how you're successful. But to me, honestly, I don't think I can operate that way. I think a lot of builders can't operate that way. I think it's always good to have a side project, even if you're starting a YC company or doing something else. I genuinely think it's always important for people to have side projects because it does let you get that creativity out where you might not be allowed to do that at your main thing because it just doesn't make financial sense, or it doesn't, you just can't work on certain things. But if you have that outlet, I think it's really important for builders to have that. You're right.
Yeah, definitely agree. And then I guess kind of wrapping up in like this last segment of this interview, and I guess a good segue kind of where we were just comparing some of the coding projects to art that we've built, I'd be remiss not to talk about AI and the impact that it has on coding. So what is your relationship? I guess what's your AI stack, and what's your general relationship with coding with AI?
Yeah, I'm gonna have a video soon about this. I literally just did a video like 2 months ago. It's like my #1 video talking about how I use AI for coding. So I've been using Cursor for a while. That's changed actually now. So it's completely changed. I have not used Cursor in over a week now. Yeah, it's completely changed. I exclusively use Claude Code at the moment. You know how like everyone talks about Cursor? It's like the big thing right now. I give it like 3 or 4 months of recording this video. A lot of people will be talking about Claude Code and just agentic coding in the exact same way. Like, I think it has completely changed my workflow. So right now, my current stack is actually just Claude Code. I do use Cursor as the editor, so I do it to review the files, but I don't use Cursor Agent anymore. I don't really use any of the actual features. Like, I could use VS Code if I wanted. I primarily use Claude Code for everything, and I use like the Sonnet 4 models and the Sonnet 4 Opus model, or the Claude 4 Opus model as the model.
Dude, it's crazy you bring that up. I'm the exact same way. I don't use Cursor Agent mode. I don't use Cursor Chat. I just subscribe to Claude Code because I heard so much hype about it. I was like, fuck it, let's try it.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good. It's really good. But my setup is exactly the same as yours. And also, I was also planning to make a video talking about Claude Code. But same setup. Cursor as the IDE, Claude Code powering everything. And now that they communicate with each other, kind of good, man. It's kind of good.
It's a lot of like, I think we're pretty early because I mean the barrier is crazy. It's like $200 a month for the like subscription. So I think a lot of developers aren't going to try it, but I think when they realize just how powerful it is such a steal at 200. They have to be losing money on this. Like they have to they're going to have to make a change or something. Well, I don't know if you saw, but Cursor changed the pricing like 2 days ago. So they're like, I think they're starting to feel it a little bit, but yeah, we're going to see more people talking about this. I'm going to try out some other tools like Klein and some other things because this really got me interested in AI agent coding. It's something I haven't really tried because the pricing just wasn't there. Like everything was API usage based. And I just was like, I could easily rack up thousands of dollars, so I'm not going to try it. This has really changed my mind. Like I think there's something here with like agent coding now. So I'm going to put it through some tests here, but yeah, this is my workflow. But in terms of the relationship with AI coding though, I am such a big proponent of using AI for coding right now. AI definitely, it used to write 90% of my code. I think now it writes 99% of my code after Claude Code, to be honest. In the last week, I have physically not touched a line of code in the last week. Even with Cursor, I would be editing it. But because of the way that the Claude Code is priced, I literally just only chat in English. So if I do want to make a code change, I just ask Claude Code to make the change for me now. I do read and review the code, but I really don't touch the actual code anymore, just because Claude Code can write it better than I can. So right now my relationship is I'm extremely reliant on it, but I do acknowledge that that's super dangerous. So like a big question I get on my YouTube channel is always, and I love when people ask this, absolutely love it because it means they're in the right mindset. They always ask, how do I make sure I don't become a worse developer because of this? Or how do I not get lazy? I have had to be very conscious to just not blindly accept things, to like double check it, to like really think through prompts. And there are some things where I choose certain features, for example, that I know will push me as a developer, even if I'm using it, because I know I have to really think through the logic. So I think you have to be very conscious about making sure that you keep flexing the engineering part of your brain, the like problem solving part, even when you have these things, just to make sure you don't get kind of stale. But yeah, I love this stuff. I think every developer should use it, especially to learn. But again, I think everyone though should be very, very conscious that yes, you can become a horrible developer very quickly if you get reliant. So just be careful with it. But yeah, that's the relationship I have.
I think I'm definitely on the same page as you. I was like traditionally trained in CS with schooling and everything, but now similarly, like I think the AI coding stuff has yet to prove as powerful in a large enterprise code base setting like I do in my day job as a software engineer. But for some of the smaller projects, like these smaller like artworks, indie hacking things that we're building, it's really, really effective.
Yes.
I'm curious to know how you feel about this, because the other day I was playing around building a Mac desktop app just for fun.
Okay.
It's been years since I've used Swift UI. Last I used Swift UI was pre-AI, but now I'm like, oh, I want to build a Mac desktop app using Swift UI. Let's get into this. I have just been speaking it into existence. I hardly am writing the actual Swift UI code. One hand to me, I was like, this is incredible. I can ship products, ship new features so much faster. But then on the other hand, I almost felt like a fake engineer. I'm like, you're not even writing any of this yourself. What are you doing? But at the end of the day, when at least the way that I kind of rationalize it, it's like coding is always a means to an end to something. And for me, where I get the most joy is always shipping features out faster. That's what I find the most fun. So AI has been great for me to not have to sweat the implementation details of some really obscure Swift syntax that I just may not know. And just because I don't know that syntax doesn't make me any less of a developer or any more of a developer, because if anything, I at least personally still feel like I work my engineering muscle because I see it get implemented in some way. And I'm like, I know this isn't the right way. We should do it this way and change this architecture a little bit. Just more like system designing than the low level nitty gritty implementation. Yeah, I was wondering, do you ever feel like guilty about that as well?
No, I feel literally zero guilt. Literally zero guilt. But I think it's because this was something I did, to be honest, like I did really wrestle with, like probably a year and a half, 2 years ago when I started using AI coding, because for me, there was, again, this is like, I love the craft. I love the game. I love doing this. Very consciously, I was trying to think, why do I not feel bad about this? For some people, the craft is the coding. For me, the craft is not the coding. For me, coding is just the tool. For me, the craft is the building. It's like, I love doing the building. If I could do what I'm doing without writing code, I would 100% do it. If I can have the same outcome. And again, the outcome is what is in my head gets translated into my hand and I can use it and it helps people and it helps me. That's what I'm really optimizing for. So for me, the coding really has always been just a tool to get there. To be honest, if I could do it with no code, I would have done it as well. Just if I can move faster. But I do understand though, because a lot of engineers, the coding is the craft. Like they love the architecting, they love using the latest libraries, they love like just writing beautiful code. I have come to the realization I'm not one of those people. Like truly, like that's not the important part to me. And there's nothing wrong with it being the important part at all. Like there's really nothing wrong, but it is a preference. But that is why I don't really feel that much guilt doing it. I still do have a lot of opinions on it, especially I think it's really a case by case basis. Like, so my answer does change for the person I'm talking to. If they ask me, you know, should I feel bad about it? Or like, should I use it here? I can answer for myself. And then for them, I always ask them, okay, well, what's your situation? Like, is that the craft for you? If it is, then okay, maybe you shouldn't do it this way then, or do it very differently than I would do it.
Right. I totally agree. Yeah. All right, man. Well, I think we can wrap it up there. I want to give you some time back. Don't want to take up all your day.
No worries.
Many.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Awesome,
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks so much for hopping on this call,
Yeah.
just chatting with us. Everyone, if you
Absolutely.
want to check out more of Chris's content, he has his own YouTube channel. Definitely check it out. Lots of great content
Thank
coming
you.
out there. Do you want to plug anything? Anything? You're good?
No, honestly, yeah. Just if you want to check out my YouTube channel, if you're interested in building apps, if you want to see what I'm learning while I'm building apps, definitely check it out. And then Aloawa YouTube channel, I'm doing a second channel. This is basically, I guess, my announcement here, because I was going to do like a bigger announcement once I had more videos there, but starting a second YouTube channel just through Aloawa, where it's exclusively AI stuff. It's exclusively the stuff that we're learning at Aloawa, building projects for clients. So we're learning a lot of just really crazy things with AI, and we're really pushing the boundaries there. And similar to my personal channel where I talk about what I learned building solo apps, we're talking about all the stuff we're learning with AI there. So that's, maybe I'll probably give a link to Thomas to put in there or something, but definitely check that one out too.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks for coming again. Great chat.
Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Mhm.